I hadn't come to Spain for reunions. Madrid had been my reset button 3 years ago, after the divorce from Mark. Amicable on paper, a gut punch in reality. At 32, I traded rainy Seattle gigs for sun-drenched copywriting at a boutique ad firm, where Juliet Navarro burst into my life like a rogue Sirocco wind. She was 28, a graphic designer with a laugh that turned heads in our open-plan office and eyes that lingered just a beat too long during brainstorming sessions. We'd bonded over late-night paella runs and venting about pretentious clients. Her stories of family summers in the Andalusian countryside painting pictures of freedom I craved. My folks' cabin's magic, she'd said one tipsy Thursday. Lakes, hikes, zero signal, pure unplug. I'd said yes without thinking, picturing stargazing and stolen glances, the kind of spark I'd felt flickering between us but never named. The drive from Granada had been a blur of hairpin turns and podcasts on resilience, ironic now. As I grabbed my duffel from the trunk, Dad, Tom to strangers but always just him in my head, cleared his throat. Didn't know you'd be the one showing up. Juliet mentioned a coworker, but... He trailed off, rubbing the back of his neck. A tick I'd forgotten until it punched me square. Juliet hovered in the doorway, arms crossed over her chest like a shield, her white sundress fluttering in the breeze. She was shorter than me, compact and fierce, with that effortless Spanish-American glow from her mom's side. High cheekbones, full lips that curved into mischief. But now those lips pressed thin, and her brown eyes darted between us like she was piecing together a puzzle with missing edges. "Elena, this is my dad, Tomas," she said finally, voice steady but threaded with unease. "Tomas, Elena's from the firm. We work together." The pause hung heavy, loaded with the subtext of our after-hours coffees, the brush of her hand on mine during a film fest in Malesana. I forced a nod, throat tight. Yeah, small world. Understatement of the century. Tom had vanished when I was 12, chasing some half-baked dream of finding himself in Europe, leaving Mom to juggle double shifts and my braces fund. Letters tapered off after a year. By high school, he was a ghost story I told to explain my aversion to barbecues and father-daughter dances. "Come in, both of you," Tom said, gesturing inside with forced joviality. "Dinner's almost ready, paella, Juliet's specialty." She shot him a look, then me, an apology in her glance that twisted something deep. The cabin smelled of saffron and wood smoke, a cozy sprawl of exposed beams and faded rugs that screamed inherited summers. Juliana, Juliet's older sister, was already at the kitchen island, chopping lemons with precise, angry strokes. At 34, she was the polished counterpoint to Juliet's chaos. Long black hair in a sleek ponytail, tailored blouse over jeans, a corporate lawyer who'd flown in from Barcelona for the weekend. "Who's this?" she asked, eyeing me over her glasses, voice cool as the Rioja chilling nearby. "Elena's crashing with us," Juliet supplied, busying herself with plates. "From work." Juliana's gaze sharpened, taking in my rumpled blouse and the way I hovered near the door like an escape artist. "Welcome to the madhouse," she said dryly, but there was a flicker, curiosity? Wariness? I couldn't tell. Dinner unfolded in fits and starts. Tom regaling us with tales of his olive farm startup, the one he'd sunk his inheritance into after years of drifting. Juliet picked at her food, stealing glances my way, her foot nudging mine under the table in silent sorry. Juliana dominated the conversation, probing Tom's latest scheme with the precision of a deposition, but her eyes kept sliding to me, as if I were the anomaly in their well-worn family script. By the time we cleared plates, the sun had surrendered to stars, pinpricks against the velvet sky visible through the open windows. "Walk," Juliet mouthed to me as Tom poured digestive. I nodded, desperate for air. We slipped out the back, down a path lined with cork oaks, the crunch of leaves underfoot syncing with my pulse. "Okay, spill," she said once we were clear, turning to face me, moonlight silvering her features. "You looked like you'd seen a ghost back there." I laughed, bitter and short. "Worse. That's my ghost. Tomas, he's my father." The words landed like stones in still water, rippling out. Her mouth formed a perfect O, then closed on a breath. "Holy shit, Elena. How?" "Long story," I muttered, leaning against a tree, bark rough against my palm. "He bailed when I was a kid. Haven't seen him since '03. She stepped closer, her warmth cutting the chill, hand finding mine in the dark. It was electric, that touch, innocent on the surface, but laced with the what-ifs we'd danced around for months. "I'm sorry," she whispered, thumb tracing my knuckles. "This weekend was supposed to be. I don't know, easy." Our eyes locked, and in that suspended breath I saw it. The pull undeniable, a current dragging us under. I leaned in, or maybe she did, and our lips met, soft and tentative, tasting of salt and unspoken fears. It was a promise, fragile as the first light cracking the horizon. But in that kiss, Spain felt less like exile and more like home. The next morning dawned hazy, mist clinging to the valleys like regret. I woke in the guest room to the clatter of pans, Juliana's voice filtering through the walls, sharp, interrogative. "You invited her without checking, Jules? Dad's barely stable, and now his long-lost daughter shows up." My stomach nodded. Juliet's reply was muffled, defensive. "It's not like that. Elena's important." A pause, heavy. "To the project, I mean. Lies, sweet and necessary." I dressed quickly, splashing water on my face in the clawfoot sink, avoiding my reflection's accusation. Downstairs, Tom was at the stove, flipping tortillas with practiced ease, but his smile faltered when he saw me. "Coffee?" he offered, pouring without waiting. "Black, 2 sugars, just how I took it. Muscle memory from another life." We ate on the porch, the 4 of us in a fragile quadrille, Tom attempting small talk about my line of work, Juliana dissecting his farm's ledgers on her tablet, Juliet beside me, our knees brushing under the table. She was sunlight incarnate that morning, in cut-off shorts and a tank top that showed the constellation of freckles across her shoulders, chattering about a hike to the hidden lake. "It's fed by a spring, crystal clear like glass," she said, eyes on mine, a private invitation. Juliana snorted. "Romanticizing again, little sis? Last time you dragged me there, it rained for hours." But her tone softened the barb. A sister's tease laced with affection. The trail wound up through scrub pine and wild thyme, the air sharp with resin. Juliet and I lagged behind, Tom and Juliana ahead, debating crop yields in rapid Spanglish. "About last night," she started, plucking a lavender sprig and twirling it. "I didn't plan on us." I stopped, hand on her arm, the world narrowing to her flushed cheeks. "Me neither. But it felt right." She smiled, slow and real, and pulled me into a hug that lingered, her heartbeat syncing with mine against the birdsong. Up ahead, Tom glanced back, his expression unreadable. Pride? Pain? I pushed it down, focusing on the now, the way her laughter bubbled up as we crested the ridge. The lake was everything she'd promised. A mirror of blue nestled in granite arms, steam rising from hot springs at its edge. We stripped to swimsuits, mine a sensible one-piece, hers a bikini that hugged her curves like a secret, and waded in, the water shockingly cold against the midday heat. Tom cannonballed with boyish glee, splashing Juliana, who yelped and retaliated with a well-aimed kick. For an hour it was suspended joy. Races across the surface, stories shouted over the lapping waves. Juliet and I floated side by side, hands linked underwater, her whispers about childhood summers here weaving a spell. "This place heals," she said. "Or breaks you, depending." I squeezed her fingers, thinking of Tom, of fractures mended too late. But cracks showed at lunch, picnicked on checkered blankets. Juliana's phone buzzed incessantly, pulling her away for calls about a merger in Barcelona. "Family first," she muttered, but her eyes on Juliet held warning. "Don't get tangled." Tom tried bridging gaps, asking about my mom, my life post him. "She did good by you," he said quietly, passing me an olive. "Better than I could." Guilt shadowed his face, and I nodded, words failing. Juliet watched us, her joy dimming, and when we hiked back, the silence between us grew thorns. That evening, as cicadas chorused, the real storm brewed. Juliana cornered me in the kitchen while Juliet helped Tom with the fire pit. "What's your angle here?" she asked, arms barred like a gate. At 5'9", she had inches on me, her presence commanding. "Jules is vulnerable right now, fresh off that breakup with Carlos. If you're playing games." I bristled, dish towel twisting in my grip. "It's not a game. And Tom's not some prop." Her laugh was mirthless. "Oh honey, family's always a prop. Just don't hurt her." The implication stung, or us. And as Juliet called us out for esmeralda, I wondered if love could bloom in soil this salted. Night fell soft, stars a scatter of diamonds. Juliet and I stole away to the hammock strung between pines, swaying gently as she traced patterns on my arm. Juliana's protective, she admitted. Lost mom young cancer when I was 10. She's been mom and sister since. Vulnerability cracked her voice, and I pulled her closer, our foreheads touching. I'm not here to break anything, I murmured. Our kiss deepened, then slow and searching, the world fading to the rhythm of our breaths. But in the distance, Tom's silhouette by the fire, Juliana's watchful gaze from the porch, they were reminders. Secrets don't stay buried in the hills. The second day cracked open with promise, or so I told myself as I laced up boots for the Olive Grove tour Tom insisted on. Juliet bounced on her toes beside me, a woven basket slung over her arm for the harvest. It's therapeutic, she insisted, bumping my shoulder. Juliana opted out, citing emails, her laptop a fortress on the kitchen table. You kids go play farmer, she said with a wink that didn't reach her eyes, but as we filed out, I caught her staring at Tom's back, something like sorrow in her stance. The grove stretched like silver veins across the hillside, ancient trees gnarled and wise, their leaves whispering in the breeze off the Mediterranean. Tom led with the ease of a man who'd bartered his soul for this patch of earth, explaining pruning techniques and oil yields with a passion I'd never seen in his sporadic postcards. Started this after your mom. Well, after everything, he said to me sidelong, as Juliet darted ahead to shake branches. Needed roots. The word hung accusatory. I plucked an olive, its bitterness mirroring my tongue. Funny how you found them here, not back home. He winced, but Juliet's call pulled us forward. Elena, look at this monster. It's gotta be a century old. We spent hours there, hands sticky with fruit, laughter punctuating the labor. Juliet and I worked in tandem, her fingers brushing mine as we filled baskets, each touch a spark in the dry tinder of my resolve. Tom watched us, a half-smile playing, but his stories veered personal, tales of hitchhiking through France, the jazz clubs in New Orleans where he'd buskied before mom. I was running, Elena. From bills, from failing you both. His voice roughened. Thought distance would fix it. I wanted to rage, to demand why the letters stopped, why silence became the inheritance. Instead I nodded, the grove's piece a bomb. Fixes nothing, I said softly. But maybe starting over does. By noon, sweat slick and content, we picnicked under a canopy, bread and cheese from the local mercado, Juliet feeding me grapes with a grin that lit her from within. Admit it, this beats Madrid traffic. I laughed, juice staining my lips. Guilty. Tom joined in, but his eyes lingered on us, speculative. You two make a good team. Juliet flushed, tossing a pit at him. Dad. The ease shattered when his phone rang. An investor, terse and demanding. He stepped away, voice rising. No, the yields are projected, trust me. Juliet's face fell, the mask slipping. He's always chasing the next big thing, she confided later, as we wandered back alone. Mom used to say it was his art. Dreaming bigger than the world allows. That afternoon, while Tom napped off the sun, Juliana emerged from her digital cocoon, suggesting a drive to the village for supplies. Sister bonding, she called it, but her grip on the wheel was white-knuckled as we wound down the mountain road. The pueblo was a postcard of whitewashed walls and geranium pots, the air redolent of baking bread and distant sea salt. Over coffee in a plaza cafe, she dropped the pretense. Jules talks about you non-stop.
Elena's so grounded, so funny.
It's cute. I stirred my courtier wary. We're friends. She arched a brow sharp as her bob. Friends don't look at each other like that. Heat crept up my neck. And if it's more? Juliana sighed, tracing the saucer's rim. She's scared, Elena. After Carlos, 2 years wasted on a guy who bolted for a promotion in Dubai. She swore off entanglements. Her eyes met mine steady. But you're tied to Dad. That's a complication. The words landed like warnings on a trailhead sign. Back at the cabin, Juliet was knee-deep in sketches, her tablet alive with designs inspired by the groves, swirling silvers and greens. Join me? She asked, patting the rug. We lost hours there, her head on my shoulder as I pointed out tweaks, our collaboration flowing like the spring-fed lake. When Tom called us for tapas, the domesticity felt dangerously real. Plates passed, wine poured, Juliana even cracking a smile at Juliet's impression of the village baker. But under the table Juliet's hand found my thigh, a secret anchor, and I wondered how long we could pretend. Evening brought rain, sudden and biblical, drumming the tin roof like impatient fingers. We gathered in the living room, fire crackling, Tom pulling out an old guitar. Acoustic, scarred from travels. Request, he asked, tuning strings. Juliet lit up. Something Mom loved? Blackbird. He nodded, fingers coaxing the melody, his voice gravelly but true. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Juliana's eyes glistened. She slipped out mid-song, murmuring about a headache. Juliet curled against me on the couch, her warmth seeping through, and as the chords faded she whispered, "He wrote that for her, you know. Back when things were simple." I swallowed the lump, simple before me before the leaving. Later, rain lashing windows, Juliet and I retreated to the loft, a shared space of mismatched quilts and exposed rafters. "Stay?" she asked, vulnerable in candlelight, her tank top damp from a dash to the outhouse. I nodded, heart hammering, and we lay facing each other. Talks meandering from office gripes to childhood scars. "I always wanted a sister," she admitted, fingers lacing mine. "Juliana's great, but she's intense." I smiled. "You're enough chaos for both." Our laughter mingled, then hushed, and when she kissed me, slow, exploratory, tasting of rain and red wine, it was revelation. No rush, just discovery. The curve of her neck, the sigh she breathed into my hair. We talked through it, after fears of labels, of timing, clinging like survivors to driftwood. But dawn brought Juliana, knocking softly before coffee, her face drawn. "We need to talk. All of us." Over mugs at the scarred oak table she laid it out. Tom's farm was hemorrhaging cash, investors circling like vultures. "He didn't tell you because it's Dad. Always the optimist." Juliet paled. "How bad?" Juliana's jaw tightened. "Bank's foreclosing next month if we don't pony up." Tom, entering with eggs, froze. "Jules, I had it handled." Lies threadbare. The air thickened, accusations flying. Juliana's pragmatism clashing with his dreams, Juliet pleading for unity. I sat silent, outsider in their fray, but when Tom's eyes met mine, pleading, I cracked. "You left once. Don't make us clean up again." The silence after was deafening, rain a relentless underscore. Juliet reached for me, but I pulled back, the weight crashing. This wasn't just romance, it was wreckage. She followed me to the porch where mist wove through the jasmine. "Don't shut me out," she begged, voice breaking. "We can fix this together." I wanted to believe her, to lose myself in her arms again, but betrayal's echo, Tom's, now theirs, rang too loud. "Is that what this is? Fixing?" Hurt flashed in her eyes, raw. "No. This us is real." She cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't felt fall. "Stay. Please." I leaned into her, foreheads pressed, the storm mirroring the one inside. For now it held. The foreclosure notice arrived like a thief in the afternoon post. A crisp envelope from the Banco de Andalusia that Tom tried to pocket before anyone saw. But Juliana's hawk eyes caught it, snatching it from his hand with a hiss. 20 days? Tomas, how could you? The kitchen erupted, her voice a scalpel, his a bluster of excuses about market dips and delayed shipments. Juliet stood frozen by the sink, suds dripping from a glass, her face a mask of dawning horror. I hovered in the doorway, coffee going cold, the family implosion pulling me in like quicksand. "It's not the end," Tom insisted, pacing the terracotta tiles. "I've got a buyer lined up, American consortium. Big money for ecotourism." Juliana laughed, brittle. "The same consortium that's been stringing you along for 6 months? Wake up, Dad. We're losing everything Mom built." The mention of Elena, wait, no, their mom Sophia, hung like smoke. Juliet finally spoke, voice small. "We fight it. Together." But her eyes on me held desperation, as if I were the glue. "I wasn't. This is your call," I said quietly, setting down my mug. "I'm just here." Dinner that night was a minefield. Forks scraping plates in accusatory silence. Rain had cleared, leaving the air washed clean, but inside rot festered. Juliana retreated early, laptop her shield. Tom nursed a brandy by the fire, staring into flames like they held answers. Juliet and I washed dishes side by side, her shoulder brushing mine in silent plea. "Don't leave tomorrow," she murmured, handing me a plate. Water sluiced warm over my hands, but chills settled in my bones. I have a flight. Work. A lie half true. I'd booked flexible, but the pull to flee was tidal. She turned off the tap, facing me, suds forgotten. This us, it's not collateral. Her hands framed my waist, tentative. I leaned in, our kiss salt-tinged and urgent, a dam against the flood. But when she whispered, "Help us save it," I stiffened. I'm not a miracle, Jules. Sleep evaded me that night, loft creaking with Juliet's restless turns. By midnight she was gone. I found her on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the moon-silvered hills. Can't shut it off, she admitted when I sat beside her. The fear. What if we lose the cabin? It's all I have left of her. Tears tracked her cheeks and I pulled her close, her head on my chest, heartbeat a lullaby. You're more than memories, I said, stroking her hair. We talked till stars faded, her dreams of freelancing full-time, my buried wish for family beyond blood. Dawn found us entwined, hope flickering fragile. But Juliana ignited the fuse at breakfast. We sell, she declared, slicing bread with finality. Liquidate, pay debts, start fresh. Tom slammed his fist. Over my body. This land's legacy. Juliet's voice rose, rare anger flashing. Legacy? Or your ego? The argument spilled outside, voices carrying to the doves in the eaves. I stayed back, packing my bag in quiet defeat, the weight of their fractures mirroring my own. When Juliet burst in, cheeks flushed, she grabbed my arm. Come with me. To the grove, clear our heads. Desperate for air, I followed. The olives gleamed post-rain, paths slick with mud. We walked in silence at first, her hand in mine a lifeline. Juliana's right in a way, she said finally, kicking a stone. Dad's stubborn. But selling. It guts me. I stopped, turning her to face the vista, endless green rolling to the sea. What do you want, Jules? Not them, you. She searched my eyes, vulnerable. You. This. Her kiss was fierce, hands tangling in my shirt, pulling me down to a bed of fallen leaves. It was passion born of peril, bodies pressing close but boundaries held. Whispers and touches that spoke volumes without crossing lines. I love you, she breathed against my neck. The words a cliff-edge confession. I echoed it, heart soaring even as doubt gnawed. Love in the shadow of loss? We returned to chaos. Tom on the phone wheedling the bank. Juliana pacing, drafting emails to contacts. Potential savior, she announced, hanging up. An old client. Wants the land for a retreat center. Generous offer. Juliet recoiled. No. It's not right. The standoff peaked at dusk, all four of us in the living room. Maps and ledgers strewn like battle plans. Tom pleaded legacy, Juliana pragmatism, Juliet heart. Me? I mediated, voice steady. Compromise. Lease it, keep control by time. Silence fell, then nods, tentative but a thread. Betrayal struck at midnight. I woke to voices below, slipping down in socks to eavesdrop. Juliana and Tom hushed fury. You told her? About the buyer. Tom's whisper cracked. Had to, Elena sharp, she'd sniff it out. Juliana's reply iced my veins. And Juliet? She's falling hard, Dad. But Elena's your loose end. Don't drag her into this mess. Loose end. Me reduced to a knot in their tapestry. Worse. The buyer's legit, but I skimmed a bit for the down payment. If it folds. Tom's admission trailed, but the implication roared. Embezzlement, desperation's child. I backed away. Nausea rising, Juliet's soft snore from the loft a cruel counterpoint. Morning broke brittle. Over coffee I confronted Tom alone, while sisters hiked. Loose end? That's me. His face crumpled, no denial. I wanted to tell you about the farm, the mistakes. But seeing you with Jules. It felt like redemption. Lies gilded. Redemption doesn't steal, I spat. Or hide. He reached out but I recoiled. I'm done fixing you. The door slammed behind me, gravel flying as I stormed to the car. Juliet caught me, breathless from the trail. Elena? What's wrong? Tears blurred her. Your family's drowning, and I'm the anchor they forgot. She paled, grasping. No, wait, I didn't know. But doubt seeded, had she? The kisses, the pleas, manipulation? Juliana appeared then, arms crossed. Let her go, Jules. It's cleaner. Juliet whirled. You knew. Accusations flew, sister against sister, Tom watching helpless. I drove off in a spray of dust, heart shattering on the curves, Spain's beauty mocking my flight. But at the Granada airport, Juliet's texts bombarded. Come back. It's not what you think. I deleted them, boarding numb. Betrayal's sting was double. His, theirs, but deepest, the fracture in us. Weeks blurred in Madrid. Deadlines met mechanically, nights staring at ceilings. Juliana called once. For Jules. She needs you. But I hung up, walls up. Then a package. Olive oil from the Grove, labeled in Juliet's scrawl. Taste the truth. I uncorked it, the golden liquid evoking leaves and lies, and broke, sobbing for what might have been. Months carved canyons in the silence. Madrid's bustle became my armor. Late nights at the firm, weekends lost in tapas bars with faceless friends. Juliet's absence was a phantom limb, aching in quiet moments. The curve of her smile in a client's logo. The scent of time on a market stall triggering flashbacks to stolen kisses under cork oaks. I'd unfollowed her on socials, but glimpses slipped through. Her posts from Barcelona now. Assisting Juliana's firm. Captions laced with forced cheer. New city, new sketches. Grateful. No mention of the cabin, of us. Tom? Radio silence as expected. The betrayal festered. A low burn, but beneath it, love smoldered unextinguished. It reignited in November. A chill wind rattling my apartment windows. An email from Juliana. Terse professional. Conference in Madrid. Coffee. For closure. I debated deleting, but curiosity or masochism won. We met at a corner cafe near Puerta del Sol. Her in a wool coat and heels, me in jeans and resolve. She looked older, lines etched deeper, but her handshake was firm. You look good, she said, stirring espresso. Settled. I shrugged. Surviving. Small talk skirted the edges, work, weather, until she leaned in. The farm's saved. Leased to that retreat group. Tom's. Sober mostly. Helping run it. Relief ward with wariness. And Jules. Her smile faltered, genuine. Hanging on. Misses you. We all do. The we included me? I scoffed. After the loose end bit? Juliana winced. Eavesdropping's a bitch. Dad confessed everything, the skim, the hiding. He paid it back quietly. But you. Your family, Elena. Always were. The word landed soft, disarming. She slid an envelope across. Photos faded, me at 8, gap-toothed grin on Tom's shoulders at a fair. Him and Sophia young and laughing. He kept these. Wanted you to have them. I left the cafe lighter. Envelope burning in my bag. That night over takeout and wine I poured through them, tears salting the pages. Tom flawed but human. A history I'd erased in anger. By dawn resolve hardened. One more chance. I texted Juliet. Coffee? Neutral ground. Her reply pinged instant. Anywhere. Anytime. We met in Retiro Park. Autumn leaves carpeting paths like confetti. She arrived breathless, coat askew, hair windswept. More vibrant, but shadows under her eyes spoke volumes. Elena. My name a prayer. We walked, words tumbling. Her move to Barcelona for space. Therapy sessions unpacking loss. The cabin's lease as a bridge, not a break. I should have fought harder, she said, stopping by the Crystal Palace, glass fogged with reflections. Told you everything from the start. I faced her, heart exposed. I ran. From him, from us. Scared of breaking more. Her hand found mine, tentative. We're already broken. But maybe. We mend different. We talked hours, benches claimed, ducks quacking judgment. Laughter crept in, inside jokes from the office, the lake's infamous cannonball wipeout. But truth surfaced too. Her fear of abandonment, echoing Mom's death. My walls from Tom's ghost. I love you still, she whispered as sun dipped, gilding the lake. If you'll have me. I pulled her close, kiss sealing it, gentle reaffirming, a vow amid the falling leaves. Always. Rebuilding was tentative. Weekend trains to Barcelona, her crashing my Madrid flat. Juliana thawed, inviting us to the cabin for Christmas. No drama, promise. Tom waited on the porch, older in the cold, arms open. Kid, he said, hugging fierce. I'm sorry doesn't cut it, but I'm trying. I nodded, throat tight. Me too. Inside, fire roared, paella simmered. Juliet's hand in mine under the table, Juliana's toast to second chances clinking glasses. The grove in winter was stark beauty, bare branches etched against snow-dusted hills. We walked it together, all four, Tom's tails now laced with humility, Juliana's barbs softened to queries. Juliet and I lagged, her head on my shoulder. "This is home," she said, breath fogging. I smiled, kissing her temple. "Yeah, it is." Spring brought bloom. Proposals at the firm, Juliet's freelance line launching with Grove-inspired prints. We shuttled between cities, dreaming of a shared flat. Maybe Granada, bridging worlds. Betrayal's scars faded. Not gone but woven into strength. Tom's farm thrived under lease, his role advisor, not savior. Juliana even dated. A quiet architect, her laughter freer. One evening, lakeside at sunset, Juliet knelt in the shallows, ring glinting. A simple band of olive wood inlay. "Marry me, Elena?" Here where it started. Tears blurred the yes, our embrace splashing water like joy. Family gathered later. Tom grilling, Juliana officiating in jest. A circle complete. Years on, the cabin stands sentinel, host to nieces with Juliet's eyes. My words in books born of these hills. Love, we learned, isn't flawless. It's the choice daily to tend the grove through storms. In Spain's embrace with America's echo in our veins, we rooted deep, unexpected but ours.